It's been a struggle, but I have something. You have to understand, right, that Ghana is developing. That is what we call freedom. I wish I bought land in this place, in this place, in this place, in this place. When things fall apart in the West, you have to have somewhere to go to. We all know there's a risk. There's risks for things in the UK as well. In the West, there are risks to be had there as well. You must leave a legacy for your children in Ghana. The West is not guaranteed to love or to protect our children. No, we can't afford to do that anymore. Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, today's video, I want us to talk about legacy. Now, I think legacy is so important, not just for we as Black people, but also just for anybody in the diaspora. You must leave a legacy, right? We've seen our parents who have not done it, and we've seen the repercussions of what that looks like for us. Okay, now when I'm talking about legacy, I know we're going to say yes, we should definitely be leaving legacies, but I'm talking about leaving a legacy specifically in Ghana, right? Those of us that are connected to Ghana in some way, whether it's through lineage or you feel the calling or whatever it is, whatever your connection is, somewhere in Africa, right? You should be leaving a legacy there. And especially not just for your children, it's so important. Like, honestly speaking, when I think about the things that my parents have left, right, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so fortunate. Like, my dad did some amazing things at the time. When we were little, for those of you that don't know, I'll just tell you the story very quickly. When I was little, right, the plan was that, so my parents were both born in Ghana, right? Born, raised in Ghana, left in their 20s, went to the UK, and then started a life there. Now, my dad's brother was very adamant that my dad should buy some land in Ghana as a home and build. In fact, he pretty much forced him to do it. And so my dad did. So he had bought this land, he'd built, and it was in this area that nobody even wanted to live in type thing. And my dad built this house, and we were supposed to move back to Ghana when I was little. In fact, my dad had actually enrolled me into school. So I was actually supposed to come and start school. But anyway, plans changed, and we didn't end up coming to Ghana. But the amazing thing is that he always had this house there. So for years, even when we were coming to Ghana as children, this house was always there, and we would stay in this house. And now that my dad is gone, I'm like, it's just, and now that I'm in Ghana, I sit down and I think, oh my God, we're so fortunate that we have this house, because first of all, if we tried to do this at this stage, we would never be able to do it. Like, it would be so difficult to buy the land and to build and all of that. Like, the struggle would be so much more. But we're so fortunate that we've had that. I've been able to take some of that land and build my own house on it. And, obviously it's been a struggle, but I have something to hold on. Obviously, I'd love more. I'd love a big, he left me a big fat bank account to live my best life to, but I didn't get that. But I got something which was, just as rich in some respects, right? So I have had the ability to build a home for not just myself, but for my children to live in. And that has been amazing. That has really given me a leg up in life, if I can say that, because comparing it to my life in the West, yes, I had a house, but it's got a mortgage on it. You're worried about this, worried about that. You're constantly sweating. Whereas when I compare it to my life in Ghana, right, I have this house, and when I don't have money, I just stop building. That is it. But for the most part, all I have is my bills, right? I'm not worried about a mortgage. I don't have to think about those things. And I'm so blessed that even if I have no money and I cannot afford to eat, all people see in the morning is me coming out of this house. And I don't really have to worry about anything else. And that is something that is what we call freedom. There is a freedom in that is just, it's just unmatched. When I listen to other people, they're like, I'm trying to look for a place to rent when I come to Ghana. I've got to do 6 months or whatever. Then I hear that they're moving here and there. I'm like, it's just, it even gives me like stress, like the anxiety. I can feel the anxiety. I'm like, this is too much. Like, can't you just settle in one place? And I mean, I understand it. If you don't have, then you don't have, right? For some people, they're just starting. But I appreciate so much what was left for me, because it has helped me so much. I would struggle a lot more if I didn't have that. And so if we can do the same for our children, even if we haven't been left anything, right? If we can do the same thing for our children, it will be amazing. We have to understand, right, that Ghana is developing. In 10 years' time, in 20 years' time, do you think that Ghana is still going to be in the same place it is today? It is not. It is going to explode exponentially. It's going to explode, you know? And if we haven't put our foot in the doorway before that time, we would have missed an opportunity and we will only kick ourselves. Do you know the amount of times I hear people say, I wish I bought land in this place, in this place, in this place, in this place, right? Because what happened was people thought, first of all, no, I don't want to live there. It's bush and I don't like that place. It's too far out. It's this, it's that, it's that. But Ghana develops so quickly that it gets to the point where the areas that we were turning our noses up at, we can't even afford to live there anymore, let alone think about buying. We can't even buy the land, let alone build a house on it, you know. And so we have to do these things for our children. We have to position ourselves so that we are leaving something for our children. We have to leave a doorway open. Even if your children don't have an interest in Ghana right now, we have to leave a door open for them to be able to walk through at some point. Because I'm telling you, the West is going to get harder and harder and harder for us and for our children. And therefore, they have to have something. We have to give them that legacy. We have to give them some type of introduction into the culture, into what we have. The West is great, right? It's great for making money and it's great for certain things. But in terms of longevity and having real culture and legacy, the West is not necessarily going to do that, right? Ghana is going to be a plan B, right? When things fall apart in the West, you have to have somewhere to go to and you can't be starting from scratch. And let me also say this, right? If you do not leave a legacy for your children and Ghana gets to a position where it becomes saturated, you will be going to foreigners to try and get yourself a little piece of the pie. That is what's going to happen. Because many people have their eyes on Ghana. They won't say it, but many people have their eyes on Ghana. They know what they want to come and do in Ghana. And if you have not created a space for yourself, you would have lost out to these people who will sell it back to you for a ridiculous price and you will have no option. So therefore, to avoid that, put your foot in the door. Yes, we see that there are horror stories, there's scary things. We all know there's a risk. There's risks for things in the UK as well. In the West, there are risks to be had there as well. People lose money there too. But the risk of you not putting a foothold in Africa or in Ghana outweighs whatever else there is, right? You have to put something, like mark it on the wall that I said it today. I said you must leave a legacy for your children in Ghana. It doesn't matter how small you think it is, it's going to mean something in the future. Even if all you can do is buy the land and wall it, do that. Just make sure you secure it so no one can take it from you, right? Make sure the paperwork on it is tight. Make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure you do all those things. Even if you can only leave one plot of land for your 5 children, leave that one plot of land. Do something, because it's better than nothing. Your life, you can fast track your children's life so much by just doing this one thing now. As I said before, when I think about what my dad has left, I'm so grateful for it, because it would be difficult for me. I could find my own way. Right? When I moved to Ghana, I could find my own way. I could have got a plot of land somewhere and said, okay, I'm going to build this house and whatever, right? I could have done that, but I would have struggled a lot more. Honestly, like, I'm grateful. I'm grateful, and I see it, and I see that, you know, I want to finish building my house so I can, you know, at some point, I'm not always going to be here, but I want my children to have something. If they can't get anything in the UK, they know that they have something in Ghana where they can lay their head and no one is going to disturb them. Do you understand? It's so important that we do that. We can't keep leaving the earth and leaving nothing for our children. Our counterparts don't do that. They leave things, they leave money, they leave assets, they leave this, they leave that. For some of us, we don't have the financial capability to leave, you know, those sums of wealth, but we can leave something. right? And so we have to be thinking about it. It's very, very, very important that we do that. You have to remember as well that the West is not guaranteed to love or to protect our children. We cannot leave our children's future, the destiny of our children, into the hands of the West because we are not their priority. Whether we like it or not, we are not their priority. Therefore, we have to set up where we know we belong. Okay, we have to set up something, because as the years go by, I mean, if we had said 20 years from now that in 20 years ago, right, that people would be being deported because even though they've lived in the country for 50, 60 years or whatever, they still can be deported. When they said, that's not possible. If you've lived in the country for so long, but you've got your footprint into the country, there's no way that they could deport you. Yes, they can. So you can imagine 20 years from now what could possibly happen. We cannot shut ourselves off to the fact that certain things can happen, right? More radicalists come up, things are changing, how the world is coming up, freedom of speech and all this stuff, right? We have to understand that things that we are not anticipating, there is a potential that they can happen. So therefore, we have to have a plan B. We have to have something. The West is not necessarily going to protect us, or we cannot rely on that. It may not happen and everything may be cushy, and that's wonderful. That's wonderful if that happens, but it's also great to have a plan B to make sure that you have something for your children in the case they need to break glass. Do you know what I'm saying? When you think about it, what is legacy? Legacy is about being able to leave something for generations after you that they don't have to fight for, something that they naturally inherit, okay? And that's what we have to do. We don't put enough importance on what legacy looks like and the impact that can have on future generations. We're talking about not just your kids' kids. Like, when sometimes you look back at some of these family homes that you see in Ghana and you're like, gosh, my great-great-grandmother used to live in this house. Even though the house may not be up to date, but at least you have something. You have the land, you have the four walls, you have something. You have, maybe even if you're lucky enough, you have a business that you inherit. Do you know how much of a leg up that can give you in this time, in this economy, in this Ghana? Like having someone being able to hand you a business that is working well. That's just an amazing thing to do. Like, the opportunity for you to be able to do it in Ghana is a lot easier and is a lot stronger than the opportunity for that to happen in the West for some of us, because our parents were first generation who have gone to the West, and therefore certain things were not set up for us, right? They were still trying to figure out life, and so many of them didn't necessarily go the entrepreneurial route. A lot of them just went to work for somebody, and all they ever had was their pension and the little savings that they have to buy this and the other. They weren't able to leave us a lot. They left maybe something, but they didn't leave us a lot. But if you put something in Ghana, it can be a lot for your children. And so we have to think about that. The way the world is moving right now, we have to forward think. We can no longer sit idle and live along the lines of, it will work itself out. Because many of us have lived that life well. It's okay. It will work itself out somehow. Things will fall into line. No, we can't afford to do that anymore. We really can't afford to do that anymore. We have to think purposefully. We have to think about the future for ourselves, for our children, for all of that, the generations after us. If we really want to become great, then we need to be forward thinking in some of these things. We can't live hand to mouth, so to speak, right? We have to think about legacy, because it can make all the difference for our children and our children's children. So that's just a little something for us to think about. I know that's definitely something that I'm thinking about, because I do not want my children to have to always be starting from ground zero. Like, that is enough now. We are at a point in our lives where we know better now, so we should do better. Sometimes our parents didn't know better, but we know better now, so we have to do better. There are no more excuses to be had. But anyway, let me know what you think about what I've said in the comment section. Do you agree with what I've said? Have you been fortunate enough to be left some type of legacy in Ghana? What did that look like for you? Let me know. yeah, let's talk some more in the comment section. If you would like to do a one-to-one consultation with me about moving to Ghana, send me an email to dela@moretodela.com. I'd love to hear from you. The diaspora directory is also still there, so if you would like to sign up, it's free to do that. I'm still working on that. The Diaspora Hub is about helping us get exposure for our businesses that we have in Ghana, okay? I'm slowly building that. That is something that is a side project for me. So I'm not really applying a lot of pressure there at the moment because I have some other things that I need to work out first. But I think it's good to remind you that, guys, that it's there sometimes so that if you haven't already done it, you can go and sign up there, because when I'm ready to focus on that, then I'll hit the ground running with that. But anyway, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment and share this video. Until next time, I am out. Bye.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wings.